While you are guiltily saving water, obediently turning off the tap while brushing your teeth, a quiet but ruthless takeover is happening behind the closed doors of Wall Street. The largest investment funds on the planet are secretly buying up rights to deep underground aquifers right now, preparing for the main crisis of our century. Forget about oil. The future world war will not start over black gold, but for a sip of clean water. And the corporations have already determined the winner. Remember the official version: global warming, prolonged droughts, natural resource depletion. We are stubbornly convinced that scarcity is inevitable and that ordinary consumers are to blame. Now, look at these numbers. While entire regions are imposing strict limits on taking a shower, transnational corporations are pumping out millions of gallons for free. We are used to thinking of water as a basic human right, but for the financial elite, it is simply an asset, an ideal instrument for absolute control. December 2020 became a turning point that most of us simply didn't notice in the informational chaos of pandemic news. The Chicago Mercantile Exchange, for the first time in human history, launched trading in water futures. The NQH20 Exchange Index forever changed the rules of the game. Water officially became a financial instrument, just like gold or soybeans. Now it is absolutely legal to speculate on its scarcity. Michael Burry, that very genius financier who predicted the 2008 mortgage crash, has long transferred all his assets into one single sector. He aggressively buys up agricultural land, but he doesn't need farms or almond harvests. He needs the water rights hidden deep underground. He was followed by giants like BlackRock and Vanguard. They are forming a shadow cartel, consolidating control over strategic aquifers from Colorado to Australia. But how do you force society to accept that water now belongs to bankers? Very simple. You need to create the illusion of a catastrophic shortage. Transnational conglomerates deliberately provoke local ecological crises by depleting municipal wells with powerful industrial pumps. Take the Nestlé Corporation. In California, at the very height of an historic drought, they continue to pump water non-stop out of the San Bernardino National Forest. Do you know how much they paid the state for this priceless resource, while ordinary citizens were being handed giant fines for watering their lawns? $200 a year. This is not a glitch in the system. It is its basic algorithm. Corporations take water for almost nothing to sell it to us in plastic bottles with 1,000% markup. And when local reservoirs finally empty out, authorities declare a state of emergency. And who comes to the rescue with ready-made saving solutions? Those very same private funds that offer to invest in infrastructure modernization. In exchange, taking full control over the water supply systems of entire cities. But it's not enough for elites to monopolize water pipes. They want to destroy any possibility of independent survival. Your autonomy must be declared illegal. For years, lobbyists have been pushing absurd laws at the regional level, strictly forbidding farmers and private individuals from collecting even rainwater. In the state of Oregon, an American named Gary Harrington went to jail for 30 days and received tens of thousands of dollars in fines. For what exactly? For daring to collect rainwater and melting snow in reservoirs on his own property. The state declared that this water belongs to the Department of Water Resources. This is a legal precedent of terrifying power. If you don't even legally own the rain falling on your roof, then what do you own at all? The criminalization of self-sufficiency is a clearly planned operation. You must not have alternative sources. Only the pipe, strictly controlled by the corporation. While small farmers are fined for plastic barrels under the drain pipe, Covert operations redistribute water flows in the interests of giant agricultural holdings. Look at California's Central Valley. This is the epicenter of a hidden water war, where the Resnick family, owners of the Wonderful Company, created their empire. They use highly complex schemes of exchanging water rights through semi-state agencies, for example, through the so-called Kern Water Bank. Billions of gallons are diverted from public reservoirs to their private pistachio plantations, while neighboring farming towns are literally drying up. Residents of the Californian town of Tulare have toxic sludge flowing from their taps because the groundwater level has dropped by tens of meters due to corporate pumps. State regulators deliberately turn a blind eye to this. Why? Because the agro-lobby sponsors their political campaigns with tens of millions of dollars. This is a cold, cynical calculation. Destroy small farms with an artificial drought, buy up their bankrupt lands for a pittance, and expand your monopoly. And this grim scenario is now rapidly scaling globally. From the privatization of rivers in Chile to secret deals over reservoirs in South Africa. And here we come to the darkest part of this chilling business plan. To what awaits us all in the next 10 years. It is a complete transition from water as a public resource to water as an elite commodity by strict subscription. And the infrastructure for this is already being installed. The so-called smart meters for water, which are being massively installed in your homes under the pretext of ecology and convenience, have one hidden function: a remote valve. It's the ability to instantly cut off the water supply to a specific apartment with a single keystroke on the management company's server. Now add to this the social credit system and digital IDs, which are actively being tested right now by the structures of the World Economic Forum. Access to a basic resource will be directly tied to your social behavior, credit rating, or so-called carbon footprint. Exceeded your meat or gasoline consumption limit this month. Your water limit is automatically slashed. They will tell you the system cares for the planet. Went to an unauthorized protest against new taxes. Blocking the water supply in your neighborhood will become the quietest and most effective way to suppress a riot. Without electricity, a person can live for months. Without the internet, for years. Without water, the clock ticks in hours, and an enraged crowd becomes submissive. Remote disconnection from the water supply is the absolute, ultimate weapon of the 21st century. It leaves no traces on the streets and does not require the deployment of police forces. And that is exactly why control over the world's reservoirs is now passing into the hands of those who are not elected by the people and are accountable to no parliament. Declassified directives of the Club of Rome back in the 70s explicitly stated that managing scarcity should become the main tool for population control. Today, this concept is fully realized. Scarcity is an illusion, artificially created to justify draconian measures and dictatorial pricing. The NQH20 index on the Chicago Exchange is not just a financial summary for brokers. It is the pulse of a new system of slavery based on physiological dependence. In the corridors of Davos, phrases are already openly sounding about the need to revise the concept of unconditional access to hydro resources. Translating from corporate speak, pay or die. Transnational giants like Veolia and Suez are already consolidating global assets, preparing for the moment when weakened states finally surrender their infrastructure to them. They are creating a closed, airtight market where the life of an ordinary person is merely a derivative of the cost of a futures contract for a deciliter of purified moisture. While you turn off the tap, obediently saving pennies, they are erecting invisible dams around your basic rights, forcing you to pay for your own thirst. The global architecture of control is already fully built. Laws have been lobbied, underground reservoirs privatized, and your smart meters connected to the global grid. The war for water is already in full swing. It's just that its victims are currently dying quietly in bankrupt farming towns, forever deprived of the right to their own rain. The only question is, how soon the remote valve will close in your specific home, and whether you will have enough funds to pay the premium subscription for the right to simply live.